I'm going to do my best now, Ara, and correct me if I'm wrong. Ara Topouzian, right?
Yep, perfect, Mike.
Got it.
Thanks.
Okay.
You win the cookie.
Yes. So, as Matt knows, I'm notorious for butchering any name that's not like Sam Smith or something, right? So, but anyway, what we're going to talk about is MVC, Michigan Venture Capital Association. I shouldn't use acronyms. It just came out with a report recently on what's going on in the private equity finance industry in Michigan. And I skimmed through the report very quickly and shared some of those topics with Matt. So we're both kind of up to speed, but we thought we'd bring on Ara and he would talk about what he considers the highlights of the report. But let's start off with, we always assume people don't know, never heard of these groups before, although I'd find it hard to believe, but in this audience, but explain what the MVCA is.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mike. So you even kind of, and I'm glad we're doing this because you had mentioned private equity. And so we're not really involved in any private equity, but Michigan Venture Capital Association is a trade association, and our members are venture capitalists, predominantly, angel investors, some angel groups, economic development organizations, the universities, a lot of the major universities, and then really a group of service providers. And these would be private firms that are working with venture capitalists and certainly their portfolio companies. So all in told, we've probably got a little over 400 individual members in the organization. And so what we do, what MVCA does, is we advocate for more capital, more talent here in sort of the Michigan ecosystem. Venture is about building business, and it's really true. I think people sometimes don't understand the importance of venture capital, and it really is important. It's not it's not a hedge fund. It's maybe closer to a little bit of private equity, but venture capitalists are out. They're building business. They're looking for startups. They're looking for companies to invest in that are going to disrupt what's going on. And these disruptions are really what makes some real powerful businesses. So we're here as an association to help them with that. We're not a fund. We get a lot of entrepreneurs that kind of call us up thinking that we're a VC fund, and we're not. We promote what they are doing constantly. We communicate that message, and certainly we're going to talk about the research report, and that's one of the ways that we do it. We have, as any association would do, is we have some networking opportunities, and then we also do different programming throughout the year. So that's kind of MVCA in a nutshell, Mike.
So real quickly, Eric, could you tell us a little bit about the difference between, because you mentioned private equity and then venture capital. So, describe in like 2 minutes, if you can, the difference between like an angel investor, venture capital, and private equity.
Okay. So the angel investor is usually that individual person that is investing their own kind of personal cash or their wealth into a startup. They could be with some other angel investors. It's usually sort of a dollar level. It's usually a smaller dollar level. And so angel investors, there's quite a bit in Michigan. And, and I'm really kind of condensing this, Matt, but then the venture capitalists, this is more, they're in, a lot of them are in, early stage funds, some later stage funds that venture kind of invest in. Not every business is venture ready. So there may be startups that get money from an angel investor or a couple of different or smaller angel groups, and then they may not ever get to that point where they need venture. Private equity, I don't have as much experience in that, but I think that's some sort of the difference that I would say is they're looking to kind of take it, buy it, and sell it, whereas the venture is they're trying to build that business. So they take a board seat, which is similar. Some private equity firms do take a board seat, but they're there to help as well, and they want to nurture the company to success. I mean, in the short run, that's kind of kind of a good comparison.
It seems in all my dealings with, and I deal with a lot of angel groups and some venture capitalists, that angel groups may cobble together 250K, give or take. And
Sure.
when you're with venture capitalists, you're into the 7 or 8 figures. You're into very considerable money, could be millions of dollars. And that's always been when somebody asks me the difference, I go, well, I mean, one is they might invest in you, but the venture folks are very savvy, and you got to have your act together, or they're not even going to look at you, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's why I say venture is not for every entrepreneur. It's unfortunate. I think sometimes people watch Shark Tank and they go, well, if I've got a great product, why wouldn't they listen to me? And so when you talk about venture at least in Michigan, it's still the top sectors is still the life science, the IT arena. Although in our latest report too, we also saw that like consumer goods and services were kind of up there on the list. So Mike, that's a perfect sentiment to just say it that way. I mean, it's really venture's not for everyone. Not everybody can get to that, can get to that point. So angel is a good way to get some of that early kind of funding in place for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about your research report. Matt and I have seen the highlights. And we got about 8 minutes left. I know that's not a lot of the time, but let's hit some of those highlights.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. So let me say this. So our association is 20 years old this year. And so along with a lot of the stuff that we're doing, celebrating this milestone, one of the things that we took a look at was our annual research report. So this year we took a bit of a different approach to it and how we gather data and how we present it. And so you'll know that just even on the cover, and I would tell your audience, if they go to MichiganVCA.org, they can download and take a look at, our research report. But we're calling this an impact report this time, and we've also kind of coined the phrase, America's Middle Coast, because we think it's really true. When you think of venture in this country, you think of the West Coast, you think of the East Coast, and then, but we're forgetting the Great Lakes region. We're forgetting Michigan, and Michigan has played a very important role, especially in this last number of years. So I say that because, it's still kind of a banner year, 2021. When you look at the last 20 years, as an example, it's $6.6 billion of VC dollars have been invested since 2006. And that's close to 1,600 deals in Michigan. So the impact that the venture community's had has been phenomenal. For every dollar spent in Michigan, this is a number that we love to really kind of talk about and share it. And it's really different this year, but for every dollar invested in a Michigan startup by a Michigan-based VC firm is compared to close to $43 from out-of-state investment. Now that number used to be like 1 to 9, 1 to 10, 1 to 43 tells you a lot of things. Tells you, one, that we still need more funding here in the state, but it also shows that there's interest in Michigan. So you're seeing out-of-state venture firms that are looking at the Michigan pipeline, which is pretty important. Last year, $1.4 billion total VC invested startups, 19 Michigan VC-backed exits. It's an impressive number. 161 deals done in Michigan. The other is, we're talking about angel. I don't want that to be missed in this too, that there are close to 1,600 angel investors here in Michigan. Wow. So these are just some of kind of the highlights. But what we're really proud of, Mike and Matt, in this book is that we not only just give the data, but we tell the stories too. So folks will see an increased amount of data in here, and then also coverage on diversity, equity, inclusion, which is really something that we wanted to talk more about. We're still in the infancy stages of gathering some of this data, but we're definitely showing more of it in this year's report. We're hoping to be able to kind of collect more as we move on. So there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit in here. I invite everybody to take a look at it. It's an important document for a lot of reasons. One, This is something the economic development community should be utilizing when they're talking about attracting business to the state. I think it's a perfect example. Governor Whitmer, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist have often talked about Michigan becoming a top 10 state in venture capital. Well, in order to do that, we need more funding here to come to the state. We know there's going to be some federal funding that will come sometime this year, and that'll be helpful, but we certainly need more of it. And we're showing a great track record that venture is important in the state, and it's funding entrepreneurs, and there's just, can need more of it.
Yeah. I went back and looked at some historical data from MVCA reports of the past, and I ran across one actually that I wrote way back in 2013, saying that we were now the number 15 state for venture capital, which, was up like 10 places from the year before.
Yeah.
Where do you think we are now? How close are we to the top 10?
I think we're far away. I think we're far away from it still. I think as far as how we compare, though, in the Great Lakes region, I think we're number one. Okay. And that's important. Again, it goes back to that comment of calling us the middle coast, right? We're not a flyover state. We talk about this so often. The amount of startups and entrepreneurs in Michigan is phenomenal. And why? Because we've got great universities out here. You take University of Michigan, which was probably the obvious one, right? A lot of venture capital kind of started, the reason you see a lot of them in Ann Arbor is because of University of Michigan. The innovation that's coming out of that university is phenomenal, but it's not just U of M. It's Michigan State, it's Wayne State, it's, Western, Eastern, Central. And that's, I think we're bar none. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm here in Michigan, but I truly, Matt, you've known me a long time. Michigan is a phenomenal place, A, to do business, A, to find opportunity and startups. So I think we can get there to be in that sort of top 10. I mean, our growth has been phenomenal over the last few years. So I don't know exactly where we are yet on that, but I think we could definitely get there to be that top 10, hopefully top 5 state.
It's tough to beat California, though, right?
It is. It's tough. It's tough to do East and West Coast just because of pure activity, dollars, and whatnot. And I don't think that we've ever wanted to be a coastal region like that. But I think if nothing else, the last 20 years, Mike, has shown us that there's quite a bit that's going on in the state. And there's quite a bit that could continue to go through. So don't leave out Michigan when you're talking venture capital.
All right, we're coming down to the end, and this is where we ask everybody if they want to reach out to you. What's the best way to do it? Just come to the website, send you an email, call you. How do they do that?
Yeah, best way is to go to the website, MichiganVCA.org. We got a brand new website. They can contact us that way. Usually comes right to me, and I respond to everybody.